Welcome everyone to the September 30th Women WVE webinar under the Morgan State University Entrepreneurial Development and Assistance Center. My name is Kamalia Blunt, and I am one of the program coordinators and facilitators for the WVE initiative, along with Dawn Tucker and Omar Muhammad. And we are happy to have everyone present today. And may I say, you are in for a treat. Within the content today, we have Joe Wynn, President of the Veterans Enterprise Training and Services Group, and Lonnette Bryan, President and CEO of the GSA Federal Solutions. Let me first start off by saying that though Joe and Lynette may hold these titles, they have worn multiple hats of leadership and have extensive experience in serving our communities and small businesses at the federal, state, and local level. They are no strangers to the challenges and triumphs facing small businesses and are well known among their colleagues as influencers of change, powerful negotiators, effective communicators, strong advocates for small business, and all around highly capable, knowledgeable, and powerful individuals. I mean, I said you were in for a treat, did I not? So that being said, prior to giving the floor over, first to Joe and then to Lynette, allow for me to communicate who we are. The WVE, or Women Veteran Entrepreneurs Initiative, aims to meet the need and growing demand of Black and Brown women veterans, military spouses, and women seeking contract opportunities within government agencies and the private sector. Our events, like this webinar, we hold numerous podcasts hosted by Omar Muhammad and Dr. Linda Singh. We promote one-on-one free business counseling at any of our partnering women business centers in Maryland. And we recently finished our September 4-week boot camp series on small business basics that allowed for federal contracting and not only gave our participants the knowledge and contacts to ensure their eventual success, but also made our participants eligible to apply for a $5,000 loan. You can also expect in the spring of 2022, a one-day summit that is currently being planned in further service to our community, where all are invited. Now, as far as housekeeping rules go, throughout this presentation, which is being recorded for future use, and the content will also be available after the webinar today, feel free to post your questions and your thoughts into the chat, and the lovely Stephanie Figueroa and myself will be taking time at the end of both Joe's and Lynette's presentations for Q&A. We also have some resource slides for you at the end, and we'll be sending a link to request your feedback for today's event that will help us at the initiative better serve you with content that you would like to hear more about and the appropriate guest speakers to wow you even more. Now, without further ado, allow for me to welcome you to Joe Wynn and Lynette Bryan.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Very pleased to be with you. Can you hear me okay, Camelia? Okay, if we can am I ready to share the screen? Okay, let's see. Nope. Didn't work. Hold on just a moment. Make sure we get this right. Okay. Okay, what about now? Can you see it?
Absolutely perfect.
Okay, great. Just, again, thank you for inviting me to participate and share a little bit with you today about contracting, doing business, and so forth. as Camelia said, been kind of in this terrain for a number of years. Currently participating with a number of organizations, as you can see there on the screen. And now I'm pleased to be a part of the advisory board for this organization, Women-Owned and Managed Enterprise Network. So what I'd like to try to do today is just kind of go through a couple of things. This is a little bit about our organization, the Veterans Enterprise Training and Services Group. Our mission is to achieve economic empowerment through education, employment, and entrepreneurship. We've been working with veterans for a number of years on federal contracting. We also now have, for the past 10 years, been managing an IT training academy right here in downtown DC, where we focus on Cisco certifications, CompTIA, Microsoft. We also have been doing a public education program for the Department of Employment Services here, where we reach out to employers and employees and talk to them, further educate them about the wages that they're entitled to and the laws regarding taking leave. We also do a program, financial literacy, to reach out and educate folks with regard to that. I'm also a part of the Veterans Entrepreneurship Task Force. We were organized in '98, and we were primarily promoting and advocating for what came to be the Veterans Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development Act. Membership is open to all veteran business owners, veterans and veteran service organizations, and non-veterans as well who want to support the effort to see more veterans and members of their families advance in the federal marketplace. We advocate for legislation, policies, and programs that will provide opportunities for veterans, particularly those doing business in the federal marketplace. And we also keep a close connection with members on the Hill, federal, state, and local agencies to advise them and connect with them regarding federal procurement programs that particularly pertain to veterans. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go through some key concepts of what success might look like in getting your business going, expanding it, growing it. One of the things, and I'm just going to just kind of lay it out straight. One of the things is to be reliable, honest, and trustworthy. Okay, so regardless of what type of business you're doing, you want to convey the notion that you're able to do what you say you're going to do. I mean, bottom line, if you say you're going to do it, do it. Also, remember customer service. We want to be able to create a relationship with our customers, and that old saying, and the customer is always right. Perhaps. Either way, we're going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt because we want to keep the business, right? Here's another thing that we want to look at. Do you need capital? And of course, when we talk about capital, this is not the money you're hoping to get to buy all those nice things you'd like to have. This is the money necessary for the day-to-day operations, like paying staff and expenses, purchasing inventory, paying taxes, and exploring new opportunities. So we want to, do we need it? Yes, we do need access to capital. We're going to talk a little bit later, a little bit more about SBA. When you're thinking about capital and money for your business, you might start thinking about friends and family. Well, I don't know. Max out your credit cards. Maybe not a good idea. Pawn shops, if you got some stuff that might be work that way, some side hustles. But anyway, you may want to consider SBA or micro lender or the bank. Another thing we want to get off into just a little bit about fiscal fitness, being prepared, being ready. One way to do that, or a number of ways, and this is just a few: pay your bills on time and keep your credit score up, at least around a 680. And that's not difficult to do if you continue to be consistent about paying your bills on time. Familiarize yourself with the balance sheet and income statement, profit loss statement. You're running your business, learn how to read those documents in particular. Keep your reserves high enough to cover the 4 to 6 months of operations at a minimum. And don't wait until you're broke to look for more money. If you're looking at your forecast of things to come, try to prepare for that and reach out for additional funding if you need it. And keep track of the numbers. Counting is key. Know what's coming in and know what's going out. Fiscal fitness. Now, the big question for some of you may be with regard to the federal contractor. And the question is, is government contracting for you? These little items that I have on the screen just give you just some idea of the various things that you're going to have to familiarize yourself with government contracting. Also, I'm sure a number of you have probably heard about the government loves to use abbreviations. So you got to get familiar with all these abbreviations like SAM, OSDBU, FAR, DFARS, your DUNS number. You got strategic sourcing. You got simplified acquisitions, capability statement you're going to want to have. All these things could create stressors, but the more you become familiar with them, the better off it is. Veteran-owned business by industry. This is just a quick chart just to let you know that how it breaks out with those of you that are veterans trying to do business with the federal government. The biggest percentage of businesses, veteran-owned businesses, are in professional, scientific, technical, and construction. But just keep in mind, the federal government, if you can think of it, they will buy it. You just have to see how you can get them to buy it from you. So as you transition in from military service to the corporate supply chain, you want to ask the question, is your business in the game? How can you compete and participate? Well, you got to do some homework. Not like this guy's studying hard, fell asleep, but you want to check out your competition. You want to familiarize yourself with the marketplace, the supply chain, regulations, and of course, legislation, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Do your planning, business plan, marketing plan, your budget, and hey, make sure you write these things down. Don't just go around with it in your head and, 3 months later, you kind of maybe forget some things, some key points. So write it down. Very good habit to write these plans down. One of the things we've been doing with VetForce over the years, which how we established ourselves, was actually following the legislation, advocating for legislation that would make an impact or improve or help to overcome the barriers for veterans trying to do business in the federal marketplace. I mentioned when I opened up about the Entrepreneurship, Veterans Entrepreneurship Small Business Development Act, Public Law 10650. I know a couple of you on the call today are familiar with that one, which kind of established the Veterans Federal Contracting Program that we're operating under today. A little later, 2003, there was the Public Law 108-183, which actually established that 3% minimum goal for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. So government agencies, prime contractors are supposed to be procuring a minimum of 3% of all of their goods and services from service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. Later on, there was an executive order that came along that helped to push the agencies more with regard to meeting that minimum 3% goal. And then later on, we advocated for some stronger legislation, which ended up actually at the Department of Veterans Affairs, uh, and it's referred to as the VA First Contracting Program. Really good program. Everything we would like to see in the total federal government with regard to contracting is actually in the legislation at the VA. That legislation provides direct awards to service disabled vets and veteran owned businesses. They have been raising their minimum percentage goals above 10% and meeting it most years for the past few years. But they do have a special process that you have to adhere to, make application to the Center for Veterans Enterprise, which now is called the Center for Verification and Evaluation. So you have to submit an application to be able to do contracting, participate in that VA Vets First Contracting Program at the VA. And that came about through legislation. So it's real important that you keep your eye and keep your ears open to the legislation. Speaking of legislation, a piece of legislation, let me see, yeah, right here, that's going on right now as we speak. The Build Back Better Act, $1.2 trillion they're looking at, and another 3.5 trillion for infrastructure. Not sure if that's going to go through today, but we hope that at some point some of that will, because there's a lot of funding for small businesses. There's an executive order also that came out about vaccine mandates. And if some of you, I'm sure, have been hearing the news, now the federal government, as well as its contractors, have to be vaccinated. So that can impact your company as well. Again, some additional legislation. Also, in the American Rescue Plan that came out some time ago, we were able to get paid leave for persons who wanted to go get the vaccinations, and then it would actually cause allow the employer to be reimbursed for that time. There's also another piece that I wanted you guys to be familiar with, the cybersecurity maturity model, CMMC. You have to be cyber secure in your business by 2025. That's going on right now. Another piece of legislation that came about that kicked off in 2021. But let's talk about teaming and partnering. Getting to know who you're going to hook up with. You might not be able to do the whole contract yourself, but perhaps you can partner with somebody. If you do, you want to do your due diligence. You want to look at some of their background, some of what they've been doing, check their past performance. It's kind of like you want to do sort of a prenuptial. Basically, you want to write it down. Nothing personal, just business. So with your friends, it may be your family, somebody you've been knowing for a long time. Don't just take for granted that it's a good match business-wise. Check out the background. Also, there's some mentor protege programs that exist, particularly the SBA All Small Business Mentor Protege Program. It's something worth looking into. If you identify that partner, the right fit can really benefit you in the long run. So you might also want to challenge your fears. And what I mean by that is there are different things about your moving forward with your business. You may be reluctant to do so, Sometimes you have to challenge your fears. Ask questions at meetings. Attend some of these conferences. They're coming back now in person more and more. Participate in networking sessions. Get to know people. Build agency relationships. That's what really helps you define and identify your pipeline for contracting opportunities and to allow you to get some, what I call, get some irons in the fire so that you'll have some opportunities on your list. Another thing you want to do is take advantage of these SBA resources. And we've been just talking more and more about SBA. They're out there, they've been out in the marketplace for a number of years. They are accessible to all small businesses, minority owned, women, veterans, people of color. Number of programs, use them to your benefit. I just listed some of the abbreviations of them. SCORE is Veteran Business Outreach Center, now just opened up in Maryland. The Office of Veterans Business Development has been providing a lot of information since the COVID-19 lockdown on what's happening within SBA. There's just probably a SBDC somewhere in your community or within your city that you can connect with. And for your women business owners, there's women business centers, as you know, in addition to other resources like this program here. You also, SBA oversees and administers several very popular loan programs, the 504, the 7A, micro loan programs. And again, that legislation I was talking about in the infrastructure bill would increase the funding to each one of those programs. Another reason why we'd like to see that passed as soon as possible. Um, so you got some things lined up. You got a shot to go after a contract, make the most of it. Make sure you know what you sell and who buys it. The federal government is very huge. You can't just, run in everybody's door and, I'm going to sell what I sell to each and every agency. You want to do, again, back to your homework and your research and find out who buys what you sell. And when you get that opportunity, when you get that shot to get in front of a contracting or program officer, uh, give a professional presentation. Be prepared. Actually, be an artist and paint the picture you want others to remember you by, because that's the what's going to be left with them. In addition to leaving your card capability statement as well. And speaking of leaving your card, I just want to mention something we were talking about the other day. Don't You might consider your email address if it's bigbob@hotmail.com. You might want to consider another email, just something that's a little bit more professional. But anyway, you've made it through today, and congratulations. Um, you have a hit, and so don't blow it. Okay. Um, there's a number of organizations that provide support, particularly for women in business. You got WeBank, Women Impacting Public Policy. They are DC located. Cadence Waterman is heading that up. Organization, I'm not sure if all of you heard of Veterans Women's Enterprise Center. VR Small, lady named is Small out in Dallas, Texas. They've been doing some great things the last few years. Of course, our vet force, as we're talking about. Some of you may not be aware of the Veteran Women Chamber of Commerce, headed up by Dr. Carolyn Cuff. She's right out there located in Lanham, Maryland. So we have a lot of resources in this particular area. Government Procurement Innovators, Paula Watts out of Atlanta, Georgia. Just spoke to her yesterday. standing up a really great program to provide supportive services for not only women but anybody who's trying to pursue business, particularly federal contracting. And of course, VIP. Some of you I know have heard of VIP, Veterans Institute for Procurement. Barbara Ash out there in Montgomery County, and Minority Business Development Center. Don't forget about them as well. They're doing a lot of things now. They've received a whole lot of funding through the CARES Act, and so they're a good source of support. And of course, the organization we're working with here today, Women and EDAC, Omar Muhammad up there in Baltimore. So that's all I have for you for today. Like I said, just wanted to take a few minutes and kind of give you my gist on things. A lot of this stuff I know we can go into a lot more depth on, and hopefully we'll do some training sessions in the future on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing all of that knowledge with us. We are going to have a brief moment of Q&A. You do have some people that do want to pick your brain a little bit, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
The first question was, do you provide insight and instructions for the CMMC? And I'll put that in the chat so everyone knows this question.
Good question. We have been working on developing our internal certification so that we can provide that as a service through our Vets Group Training Academy to assist other small and medium-sized businesses which to prepare to make application for that certification. Matter of fact, I just had a conference call with our IT engineering crew, and we're going to ramp up as of probably January. We will be offering that as a service to small and medium-sized businesses to help them prepare and ensure that they're following the right guidelines and internal policies and systems to be cyber secure and be able to pass that test for the Department of Defense CMMC certification. So yeah, just give us a call.
The next question is, and I'll put it right in the chat. Do you recommend a starting budget and type of loans available for veterans?
You know, with regard to budgets, my feeling is your budget is going to be relative to what it is you're trying to do. We used to have sort of a guide, a checklist about certain businesses you could start with $25,000 or less. Okay. There are different things you can do. Again, it depends on what you're doing as to what your budget is needed. For example, one of the things we're doing now, we have a web development training program. And so people, as they go through that and complete the training to learn how to develop websites, we all know everybody needs websites these days. That's an easily transferable skill into entrepreneurship, which is one of the reasons why we promote it. And it doesn't cost you a lot of money to start that kind of a business, okay? Wherein if you're going to be doing government contracting for construction and you're trying to build a building for somebody, whole different ball game, okay? So it's just relative. It just depends. And one of the things not only we do, but you know, the small business specialists will provide some input and advice on the type of business and how to get started or expand within that type of business. So utilize those services I mentioned with the SBA, all those centers, women's centers. That's what they're there for.
And as a follow-up to the question about starting a business, There are plenty of women's business centers, like Joe had briefly mentioned. I know there's 3 that the WVE initiative that we're working with in Maryland that will also be able to give you information and more resources, and it's free. So, you know, before you dish out all of this money to, you know, pay for these services, might want to check if there's something that is available to you that you can basically grow your knowledge in without having it come out of your pocket.
Right,
So
good
Joe,
point.
oh
A
yes.
lot of these services, you're right. A lot of these services are free. There's some though that I was speaking with someone the other day. Um, there's some services that when you want to go a step further, you may want to come out of pocket and pay for some things that are unique and specialized to you. But take advantage of the open source free services first.
We have a few more questions and then we will get this party started right again with Lynette Bryan. Your next question, Joe. Should a new business start with their own credit or should it be strictly separated? And how do you keep them separated?
Well, one thing is for sure, you don't want to commingle funds. I know some of you on the call understand that about the commingling because you can get in big trouble for that. Your personal funds, you definitely want to keep that separate from your business fund. Okay, so you should have separate bank accounts when funds come in. And you're the same person. You're the person in your personal life and you're the person that's running your business. But separate the activities. Okay, so if somebody pays you for a service you provided, even though you're going to ultimately get paid from your company, have the funds for your business go into your business account. Then cut yourself a check from the business account to pay yourself. Okay, and this is going to be real helpful too, going down the road when you want to apply for some of these other certification programs. Uh, you're going to want to be able to demonstrate that you have 2 or more years of business activity and revenue has been coming through your business. So yeah, keep it separate as much as possible, but definitely keep that in mind that at some point, even with the taxes and everything, keep it separate.
Your final question, Mr. Joe.
Mhm.
If one is looking to acquire a business, where do you start? SB, the original person who asked the question, said, I have one business, but I'm looking to purchase a construction business to take advantage of that industry and its opportunities for women.
Well, one of the questions, if you were saying what type of business would I start, and then if you were saying you were looking at a particular business to acquire, is that what you were asking? Kind of 2 questions.
SB, are you on? Would you like to expound on this note a little bit?
Yes, I can. Hi, Mr. Wynn. My name is Sharon Jacobs. My question was, I have a small business currently. I do business-to-business consulting, but I want to purchase a construction company to take advantage of construction and what it offers for women in that area.
Okay. Well, that's something that I have not spent a lot of time in doing research in acquisitions, but of course that's what it's going to require. What is that business that you're looking at? If it's a going concern, if they're still operating, it'll be a lot easier to do an assessment and determine what their value is and what the market rate for a company of that type. So construction company depends on the size. If it's a small company, 2-person company, 1 truck, that's going to be easier to determine what the acquisition and the value is to take that over. If you're talking about a larger company that's doing larger projects, of course, there's more research and review you're going to have to do. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir. Thank you. That does make perfect sense.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Thank
hear
you
you.
to all of the,
Oh,
yes?
okay.
Oh, you're fine. Sharon
Okay.
did a great job thanking you. So
Okay.
thank you everyone for the questions, and a special thank you to Mr. Joe Wynn for your presentation. Next, we will highlight the lovely Lynette Bryan with her content. Welcome to the floor.
Good afternoon. I am so caught up in Joe's presentation. So I have like 2 or 3 pages of notes, and very informative, Joe. I mean, I must commend you. A great presentation. Camille, you're doing a heck of a job as well. So I'm really excited. So my name is Lynette Bryan. Some of you guys may know me and some of you may not. However, I worked with GSA for 30 years and I sit there and awarded GSA contracts. I realized that GSA is the primary vehicle that the government uses when they procure opportunities. So a lot of times when the government procure opportunities, they look to find companies to be substantial. So even though our presentation today is totally different, it's probably where Joe should have had this whole show, and then there may be a lot more that I can go in depth with how the government procure opportunities, what type of vehicles they use, what type of certifications. Well, that's my core competency. My company is GSA Federal Solutions. I'm Lynette Bryan. That's my website, GSA Federal Solutions. So when I realized that, I've done a lot of presentations all over. I'm so elated to be on the advisory board for the Veteran Women Entrepreneurship of Color. I'm really excited about that. So I've done a lot of presentations, and people always ask me, what is your take on the veteran businesses? But they are amazed with my take on it. Even though I'm not, I've been a civilian all my life, but my family, my dad, you know, they were in the military. But I have a direct passion for veteran-owned businesses, primarily women-owned businesses. My take on that is that if you fight for us, we should be fighting for you. So to have this opportunity to pretty much elaborate on working with the veteran businesses is just an honor for me. Even though the GSA schedule is the primary vehicle, but it's very important for companies to have certifications as well, because the federal government says the more you put into your company, the more substantial you are. So even piggyback on some of the information that Joe Wynn spoke about, especially with the teaming, the government says more than one company can team and offer a total solution. Many years ago, we didn't want to tell our neighbors about what our company has accomplished, but now you want to tell them because you want to partner with them. So the idea is to get in there, meet those requirements, knock on the door, and don't leave without an answer. Now, the GSA schedule is the primary vehicle, but you have to have past performance, and you have to have at least 2 years of financial, to even at least $35,000 a year, to just show that you're a company and you have sold the product or sold or performed the services before. So that's what the GSA schedules contract. It's a 20-year contract, and it's predicated on past performance and that you're giving the government the best rate. So what GSA does is make the ordering easy for the government all over. So it's essential to have. It's better to have than to not have. And it's a great marketing tool. So when you meet those requirements, and I tell companies all the time, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are with your company, you want to be able to market to that number one customer. The federal government, that's my sermon for the day. Supply what's in demand to the best customer. That's the answer. That's the ticket to success. So the government buy almost anything you do commercially. They spend more than 30 million every 30 minutes. However, you want to know the strategy in actually meeting those requirements. You want to know the strategy on how to target to these specific agencies that buy your services and buy your products. There are other vehicles, there are contract GWAGs, and then certifications is so essential. Even though you're a service disabled veteran or a veteran-owned company, you still want to be able to get that minority certification. You want to see if your company is in a hub zone. You want to get that hub zone certification. So the whole idea is to have, and of course, the women-owned. So the whole idea is to have everything that your company can comply with. Knock on that door and don't leave without an answer. Don't let people tell you, because I was at an event one time and I was really appalled with the guest speakers because they were telling these companies, well, if you can't get an answer from Department of Energy, well, leave. You know, there's other agencies. No, you got to fight for what you want. And I think that we really need more sessions on motivational to motivate companies to know, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And this is where I'm going to market to. So be able to market your services, even in the construction area. Yeah, the government does. You have to look at the way they buy government, the way the government buy construction. They don't just have a demand or a specific schedule for construction companies. There's something that's called facility services that encompass a lot of the construction services, but the biggest demand in the construction industry for the federal government is the product. They're looking for veteran-owned businesses that sell the hammers, the nails, the doors, the windows. They're looking for women-owned companies that sell that. They're looking for minority companies that sell that. So be able to do that strategizing when you look into marketing to the government. Again, when you have a business, market, position your company to market to that best customer. Everything else is a piece of cake. State, local, commercial, it's already there. Once you have a GSA contract, you're FAR compliant. So that means you're in compliance with all of the regulations for the government. So know that, and I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I really hope that companies that are on here today can feel that motivation to go back and revamp, do whatever you have to do to meet those government requirements and be able to market to not just one agency, but all over. And once you have a GSA contract, that means you can comply to the 48 states. That means you're in position where you can market all over. And that's why teaming is so essential, because you can team with companies that are, if you're in DC, you can team with companies in California. You can offer a total solution. Somebody asked me one time, there's a GSA schedule for catering. How can I cater to an agency in California where there is a GSA schedule for catering? And you can cater, but you have to know the terms and conditions. You have to partner with a company that has a kitchen, that has the facilities in California. So don't rule it out that you can't do it. So I'm hoping that today, after Joe Wynn's presentation, it was so informative for veteran-owned businesses. I hope that I have motivated some of you guys to do it, do whatever you have to do. My company, we don't just do GSA schedules. We do a lot of assessments on what you have, what you need, what do you have to have to help you meet the government requirements. So I'm going to leave with that because I know we have time for, there may be some questions and you may have to end it. But I just want you guys to know that I'm so excited to be working with the veteran-owned businesses, even though I'm not a veteran, but I have a strong passion for them. I feel like if those women, those men, while we're sitting at the movie theater, while we're at dinner, if they can sit out there and fight for us, well, we can be where we are today. I think you're not getting your props. So Joe Wynn, I know that you're very essential, but I know that percentage of contracts, it has to go up. This got to go up. So we have got to fight. We got to educate. We got to get enough women-owned businesses certified, get them on the GSA schedule, and push them. Because while we're at the movie, we're at the theaters, they're out there fighting for, they're out using their life to fight for us, and I think it's unjust. So I do have that strong passion for them. Also, I have I have a contract with the Florida Women Business Center, and I have to put that out there because they have 40,000 women-owned businesses, but they don't have a lot of veteran-owned businesses. So for me to either take time to really help push the veteran-owned businesses, it would not be a conflict of interest. So I'm excited about that. And also, I'll be speaking at the national conference for the women business centers all over the United States. And I am going to plug in about the women-owned businesses not getting their push, so that we hope that a lot of businesses like us can team with veteran-owned businesses and offer a total solution. So I'm going to end it with that, Camelia, and we're going to, let you have the floor. Thank you for inviting me here today.
Yes, can I put in an order so I can come pick it up?
Okay. They were doing the order. I like orders. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Lynette. I don't know about anyone else. I'm not even a women business owner myself, but man, I was like, why don't I? Like, Lynette, your energy is just like a great follow-up to the content that Joe had brought forth. And I really hope that everyone was paying attention, that you got some nuggets of knowledge, And while these two speakers,
Yeah.
they may not look it, but you're looking at a combination of over 50 years of knowledge. They definitely don't look it. So this is your chance to ask them questions, to be engaged, because who knows? I mean, we may not get this chance again. I mean, it's the pandemic, but if you have the opportunity now, why not take it? So with that being said, we're still taking in questions. Lynette, you do have a few, but if anyone has any follow-up questions for either Joe or Lynette, this is a great time to bring it up. And then afterward, I will bring up the remainder of slides and everyone can enjoy their Thursday. All right, Lynette.
Well,
Your
let me,
first, yes,
did you
Joe.
have did somebody, if they don't have a question right off, I just was going to mention, and I know Don is, and you're probably familiar with this too, the SBA Community Navigators grant program that is expected to be announced mid-October. Whether, regardless of who receives grants, there's going to be a number of grants awarded throughout the country. The concept, though, has led to a lot more collaboration among small businesses. And what I mean by that concept is that you might have, or you will have, a central entity organization that has a lot, let's say, a significant bandwidth for a particular region to service a region. But the concept is that they would not do it alone. They would have to have a minimum of 5 organizational partners to work with them. And in doing so, that's going to, and it already has begun to create more connections to small businesses in our communities, Black community, veterans community, women's community. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that coming online mid-October. Um, because everybody, regardless of the type of business you're doing, people are at different points in their development. Okay. So the idea behind this navigator piece is reaching out to businesses and meeting them where they are within their community. So that's going to be real interesting, something to look forward to going forward. Just wanted to just mention that.
And that's a good reminder. So we have about 10 minutes left. Don't want to rush Lynette. We want to get through this content. But again, if anyone here has any questions for both of our speakers today, this is a great opportunity. All right, Lynette, starting you off. Your first question, madam, is how many times would you recommend contacting a particular agency before you give up on marketing to them?
Don't give up. You do not give up. And the government is like this. So if the government is looking to buy insurance, the first thing going to come to mind is Allstate, Geico. The more you out there and the more you position yourself, exposure means everything. They're going to see you so much, they're going to cater to you. So you don't give up. There's no such thing as giving up. You keep going after those opportunities. And if you bid on an opportunity and you don't get it, always do a debriefing. Find out where it is you went wrong. Find out what you need to do. The government has to tell you. So you don't give up. So my answer to that is don't. You just keep going until you master what you're doing. And that's the whole name of the game, is to make it happen for yourself.
Where's the mic so I can just let you drop it? All right, your next question is, and I'll put it right in the chat. Boom. Can you use personal experience as evidence of performance for the GSA schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a way that you can use personal experience, but you still have to have the company's revenue. You still have to show that you build for a certain position that you want to offer the government. So basically what you're offering them is your position, your services. So yes, you can use your personal, but you have to have so many years of that expert experience. And then you also have to show that you sold or you built for that position before. So you have to have invoices to support.
Your next questions, I believe they are double fold, madam. All righty. How long does it take to get on the GSA schedule, and what is the most common one?
Okay, that's a very good question. In the solicitation, it tells you about 145 days for the award. You asking us a consultant that has been doing GSA schedules for 40 years. So I've done them in 3 weeks, but I don't guarantee it. It has a lot to do with how quick you get your information submitted and how well your information is submitted. So once they do their review, then they don't have to go back and forth. Now, if your package is complete and put together well, then you can get awarded really quick. It depends on what you offer in the government. Now, the number one item that the GSA schedule, through the GSA schedule that the government buy is IT. So IT is the number one item the government purchase. The number two item is consulting. So almost anything you're doing, any specialized services that you're providing, you're a consultant. So professional services, the number two. And then you go in and you can go to the GSA website and you can look at how much they spend in each area. So if a company is doing something in the area of construction management, it may not be as, they may not spend as much as they will in the professional services under accounting or under the professional services consulting, or and IT being the number one.
All right, the final question that's here for, either Lynette or Joe, either one of you can answer this. But as a follow-up to our registrants, are there any tips, advice, or things to remember that you would like for all of us to kind of keep in the back of our minds, despite the pandemic, despite whatever is coming down the pipeline politically or anything like that, despite the obstacles that you would really like to relate to us at this moment?
Joe, I know you could probably do a lot more than me, but I'm gonna say I woke up this morning and there was a song on my mind, and it was by Giving You the Best of Me. Okay, so I heard that this morning on the radio, and I said, you know what, we need to be able to give our companies the best that we can offer to the government. So remember, the government says the more you put in your company, the more substantial you are. So I would definitely look at my company capabilities, do my strategizing, and look at everything I can comply to and get it done. So that's my best advice, and good luck. And of course, get a GSA contract.
Duly noted. All right, Joe?
I always appreciate hearing from Lynette. She's definitely an all pro on that GSA schedules piece. And matter of fact, I think it would be helpful to do some more training sessions on that to educate people, particularly that Schedule 70, the IT schedule. The other thing, though, is I was talking to somebody the other day about the fact that in government contracting, um, a lot of what you may actually do may not, particularly as Lynette, you were talking about consulting, professional services, you might not be doing the actual work. So you want to get good at picking good people to do the work. Okay. You want to understand, that's why I mentioned about the legislation that governs what we're going to do in the marketplace. The regulations are developed from the legislation, and then they're going to tell you specifically what you can and cannot do and the timelines to do it. And once you have an opportunity to actually provide a product or service, then of course you want to put your best foot forward. The other thing too is take advantage of. I mentioned that acronym OSDBU, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. Um, we've had criticism about that agency office over the years, but if you use it the way it's intended, it will help direct you to where you want to get to market yourself to a particular part of the agency. Again, federal government is so huge. I mean, just one agency alone has so many opportunities available. And, you want to find your way now. You don't want to waste time talking about what you can do to people they're not really interested.
Right, flood them with the veteran-owned businesses. I say flood them. If we flood them and we get enough veteran-owned, we're gonna get enough veteran-owned awards, and that's what we want. Hey, Laurie. Laurie is an awesome veteran-owned business and a great role model. But anyway, let's flood them.
Yeah, I saw Laurie over there. Laurie and I were just at our Vet Force meeting. We were talking about we're going to be advocating to increase that minimum 3% to 5% within the next 2 years. And that transition from where I was talking about CVE, VA, verifying veterans to do business at the VA, that transition is in process to go now over to the SBA by 2023. And it's also going to be a requirement then to do business with all federal agencies that you be certified as a service-disabled owned vet. So that could present itself to more opportunities. We hope so. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't been verified or certified by the VA yet, go ahead and do so, regardless of how much business you have done. If you're a veteran-owned business, go ahead and get verified. The process is much simpler now. So you want to get that done as soon as possible.
Kamali, can I say one more thing really quick? Can I say one more thing really quick? Many years ago, when I started with GSA, we used to award the contracts for $500 million. And the same companies, every year, the same companies would win the contracts. And the government used to say back 30 years ago, we're going to stop this. We want 4 companies on the team. We want more companies to offer a solution. So I think, Joe, one of the ways that you may want to push that increase is to push partnership. Push a lot of companies that are not veteran to partner with some of the ones, and they're still offering a total solution. I just want to see the veterans get their share. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you both. I know it's 4 o'clock, so if you have to hop off, you are free to. Thank you for joining us today. I am just going to go over 3 slides that are on the remainder of this document, and then I want you guys to enjoy your Thursday. So it's just brief notes. It is nothing compared to what Lynette and Joe shared today. But on the upcoming slides, these are organizations that work with the military. These businesses can participate in meetings and events, and they're hosted by these organizations. And if applicable, you can become a member. So other organizations that participate may also offer business opportunities or possible opportunities to be partners or subcontractors. Now, briefly from what Lynette and Joe were talking about, we know that when you're looking at partnerships or looking at other opportunities, it's a bit of a scavenger hunt. But I kind of always say this as a joke. If you have survived 2020, you can pretty much survive anything. And that's just my personal perspective. But if you made it out of a hard time and survived 100% of the most difficult situations that you have up until this point, there is nothing that is going to limit you now. That being said, this content right here, this is Technology Councils and Associates, and these are locations specifically in Maryland. Don't be disheartened if you're not in Maryland. There are plenty of opportunities in multiple states. It's just, again, possibly having to do that scavenger hunt. But this content and Joe's content, as well as the recording, will also be available to you following this presentation. This one, the MD Military Alliances, this is a group of military bases here that are also they're also located in Maryland that do business for with Maryland businesses, and they also provide services and businesses even if you're outside of Maryland. So this is just a taste of some of the resources and context that you could take advantage of. And again, it's a scavenger hunt, but up until this point, if you have the moxie to have an entrepreneurial business, you can make it through. There's a reason why you started, and so there's going to be a reason why you finish as well. Our next boot camp, we just finished September, a 4-week training boot camp that was hosted by Dawn Tucker. And it was amazing. We had great feedback. All of the businesses that participated, they loved the content. There was a wealth of resources that we were able to acquire, at least 50 different resources that we had on a single PowerPoint that listed contacts and potential organizations for business partnerships, as well as basic information on federal regulations that you should be aware of, and the different certifications and IDs and codes, basically all the subtle nuances of what it takes for small business basics that could be potentially beneficial for your business, whether you're just starting or whether you've been in the game for a really long time. So our next setup is going to be in November. We will not be having one on Thanksgiving. We all love Turkey Day. So it's going to be on the 4th, the 9th, the 18th, and the 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. And if you are willing to basically sit in and receive some content and be potentially able to apply for a loan, this is going to be your opportunity to basically be more engaged with the WVE. That being said, I know I'm long-winded, but thank you all for coming today. If you would like to stay on, if you have more questions for the speakers, feel free to stay on. But at this point, we shall convene, and I want to thank you all again for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Camelia and Leon. We appreciate your being here with us, and let's definitely follow up.
I will. So good luck, everyone. Good luck. Let's just do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know? It's time for us to not be a foreign entity. It's time for us to make it happen. For ourselves, for our country, and for our partner business owners.
Thank you all so much.
You, Sharon. Have a great day.
Okay.
I'm gonna get off. It's good seeing you, Miss Dawn. I love you. It's good seeing you guys. And I'm gonna have to pop off, but I'm always here if you need me, Dawn. Okay, and thank you for such a great introduction. You're amazing.
Great job, everybody. We're gonna close out as Kamalia said, and if you want, you can contact us and we will be providing all the slides to all the participants. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.